Welcome back to DIY Willy. Today we're getting back with the 224 Mega Moto mini bike. Got something I want to try. Not sure if it's gonna work, but it's worth a shot. I want to try it, and I'll show you what I mean here in a second. All right, but I was watching a Kentucky Fried fixing video, and he was talking about the vibrations of the 224, and one of his solutions was that, or his findings I should say, was that the flywheel is loose on these 224s. They're not torqued correctly, and they're loose on even on the taper, and they tend to vibrate. So yeah, that's definitely what I'm going to look into today. I'm going to get the side cover off and check out the flywheel and retorque it if necessary. I probably will retorque it anyway and make sure it fits tightly on the taper and see if the vibration goes away. That's not what this video is about today, but we're going to show doing that. And yeah, let's get started. Let's look at some parts I've got and see what we're going to do. All right. So I picked up these parts in this box from V-Power Equipment. They seem to have a good deal on it, and it came as a kit with all the hardware and everything included. So rather than buying the parts individually, I think this was a good buy. However, I already got it open. The parts are black, and the engine, you know, is red, and I kind of like that flat red on the engine. So I may have to paint these parts once I find out if it's going to work or not. All right, let's take a look. So inside, get rid of some of this paper packing. We'll just throw it there for now. We have a key box, a circuit breaker, key box. I don't see the key. I hope it's in here somewhere. Of course, the wiring. We'll put it back in here. So I think you can kind of figure where we're going with this build today. We've got the electric starter right here, all brand new, nice parts. And this is the whole reason why I bought this kit, because it comes with all the hardware. I mean, this even looks like it's the complete hardware kit for the engine. You know, I've got the head studs, the head bolts, I've got the carburetor studs, I've got every miscellaneous freaking bolt you can imagine in there, plus one, right? I think this is why I bought this package. It's this kit right here. We got a little YouTube instructional video for the wiring and how to put it together. We don't need that while we're going, right? We got miscellaneous cooling pieces and the flywheel with the ring gear on it. Now these are supposed to be Honda parts, but we'll see. Now this is one charging coil, and we might put it on. I have a dual charging setup that I had on the other mini bike. That would be better to put on than this one. Ah, there's the keys, or llaves as we say in Spanish. Another little shroud piece. Not really sure where that's going to go, but we'll figure it out. And last but not least, the new shroud. See, this has got the provisions for the starter, because the starter sticks out the side. Now I have one of these that I made out of an old 212 shroud, where I shaped this piece myself and welded it in. Paint job's not that great. See that? See that? Paint job's not that great. But that's alright, because I want to paint it red. So that looks like that's the extent of the parts. Let's lay them out here and get a clear shot. So there's a good shot of the parts. We're going to clean this flywheel up a little bit. It's got some rough edges. I'll just run some sandpaper on it, kind of smooth it out. the starter, and of course charging coil and these things. We'll figure these out once we get it in there, and I'm really happy about this. And of course all that. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna put it over there. Hopefully cross my fingers, hope it all works. I think it'll work out nice. All right, I'll wait. Now I know you're gonna be like, Willie, what are you gonna use for a battery? Have you seen the size of the bike? What are you gonna use for a battery? I have an idea. Let's see what we're gonna do later. All right, so I'm thinking the best thing to do to get started on this, now you guys are gonna have to deal with my shadow. I'm gonna have a shadow in the video, but pretty sunny day today. So I think the best place to start today to get this off and to get started on the install is to get rid of the air cleaner box and plastic and extra stuff. And I don't really want to remove the gas tank. I got quite a bit of fuel in there, but I think I can get to all the bolts without doing that. And then all I have to do is take the shroud off, get into the cup where the nut for the flywheel is. We'll zip that off, and then we'll just tap the flywheel off, and hopefully everything fits right back in place. And we'll have electric start on a 224 Mega Moto mini bike. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with the battery yet. Maybe I'll think of something. But yeah, let's get going. So we got the shroud off, kind of look inside what's going on. Yeah, I mean, everything looks normal, and I don't see anything that maybe weird that could be causing a vibration. But we're gonna go ahead and get this nut off, get the cup off, the flywheel fins off, the cooling fins, and then we'll get the flywheel off and kind of check it out too. Then we can start taking off the other parts involved. So I forgot to grab that nut or that socket while I was in the garage, so I'm gonna go get it. I'll be right back with you. It was kind of loose. It didn't take a lot to get that off of there. People have commented that they're kind of loose. Can you guys hear the in-play that's on this engine? That's a lot. I don't think that should be like that. That's why I bought the spacer kit. I bought the spacer kit, or a shim kit I should say, to fix that, but that's excessive in-play. I don't like that at all. When I get the side cover off, we're gonna mess with that on the inside. Take care of that. I'm worried that there's some of that vibration I'm getting is from that end play, you know, and over time it's gonna cause some more damage, but we'll fix it next time around. All right, so a good couple whacks with the hammer and a pry bar. We got it. We got the pesky flywheel. Now, this is a really good looking flywheel. I mean, in comparison to what the piece I have, it's a lot better finish on it. You know, really nice. Really nice finish in comparison to this one. This one's not near as refined. Yeah. This one's definitely taking a beating, where this one's just a lot better looking. But we're going to fix that up, you know? Yeah, we'll clean it up, take a little bit of sandpaper and smooth it out, and get it installed. So taking a look inside and continuing on with the install, this piece comes off. This is part of the cooling tins or the cooling shields, and this gets changed out for that other one. This is where the charging coils mount to, these 4 spots here, and this kit includes the hardware for those. So yeah, it's looking promising. So far so good. You got little scratches right there where I was using the pry bar for the flywheel. Clean up the taper a little bit. I'll wipe it off. Get any manufactured debris. Ooh, look at that. Get any of the manufactured debris off of it that we need to. And start putting parts back on. Okay, I'll get back with you. Okay, so I've got everything off. I cleaned the taper on the flywheel. Tried to clean up the coil a little bit. Check for any sharp edges. There's some parts here we don't need, like this is part of the oil level switch. We're not going to use that. That can go in the scrap bin. In fact, I'm not going to use that at all. This is will be completely disconnected now and won't be used. Just the kill switch for the handlebars will be in there working. And we'll just kind of roll this up out of the way for now. When I go inside, to check the inside, clean the, take out the governor or whatever I do inside, then I can go ahead and take this off. But for right now, it's perfectly fine right there. The taper is good and clean. Now this would be the perfect time to punch the governor out, because that's it right there. You just take a pin, a drift pin, and a hammer, and pow, knock it right out. And you can remove the governor from that pin and then drive the pin back in and plug the hole, or you can tap it and run like a 1/4 bolt in there. It'll do the same thing. But for right now, like I said, to me, honestly, this engine is fast enough, even with the governor. It already goes 34 miles an hour, and I'm sure I could get more out of it, than that. And if I needed to go faster, I could change the gearing. There's things I could do. This engine is perfectly fine with the governor. I'm in no hurry to, go 40, 50 miles an hour with it. Not with this little bike. The other one does it, but it's got a swing arm and bigger tires, and it just feels more stable. This one, however, I'm going to leave it just like this for now. When I do change the governor, I do have a different throttle linkage to put on it. But again, that's down the road a little bit. We're going to leave it like this for now. Well, the first thing we want to put on is the charging coil. So the charging coil mounts like this. He's got these little dimples right here on the bottom. Those little dimples fit perfectly in the hole to align the coil, just like that. And we'll find the bolts from the hardware package it came with, and you should find 2 bolts, same length. I believe these are, well, they're 10mm heads, but I believe they're 6mm 6x1 bolt, 6mm by 1 or something like that bolt. And there's 2 of them, same size. They can put it together. And you can find the holes. I'll run the hardware in. Like I said, I also have a dual coil which would mount on both mounting positions, and it has twice as much power. And we're not going to use that right now. We'll go with this one. We'll get the wire ran up out of the way here, and we'll go ahead and run those in. Like I said, those are 10mm. Cinch them down good. Probably torque spec out there somewhere, but I don't know what it is. There's the wire. We'll keep it out of the way for now. Now comes the starter. So if you look in the starter where the starter mounts are, these 2 holes right here. There's a place to have like alignment pins, I think they're called, or dowels, alignment dowels. There's 2 of them, and the kit comes with the 2 smaller alignment dowels, and then for the starter motor there's a shorter screw and then a longer screw for the top. So they would assemble, like that through the starter and through this. We'll put them on right now and we'll show you. I never did find exactly where this piece goes. I couldn't find it. We'll just throw it out right now. We don't need it. So yeah, let's get that starter mounted. So we'll take our 2 dowels, and we'll drop them. No, I'm just kidding. We'll take our 2 dowels and we'll just insert them in those holes like that. Give you a close-up of that. You just go in there like that. That will help align the starter. And then your starter motor goes mounted on the side of the engine like this, with the solenoid on the bottom like that. And you know, we want to move these wires out of the way. And it sits in there just like that. See how much room there is on the frame? That's why I couldn't do it on Mighty, because Mighty, with the engine kicked up and at an angle for the torque converter, there's no room here for the starter, so I had to take the starter off Mighty. But there's plenty of room here, and 224, it fits it perfectly. So yeah, we'll continue on with the install. Let's get the 2 bolts here for the starter, shorter one on the bottom, longer one on the top. Got those bolts right here, and we have to use this piece. So yeah, we'll get them in. Interesting. Reshape that a little bit. It was being stubborn. Amazing what a hammer can do. Then you just take this and run this through here. Run the wire through. So it comes out the other side. Just like that. Stick it through there like that. Now we've got the coil there. We've got the starter mounted. We're ready to put the flywheel back on. Now, I've already taken and kind of sanded the flywheel like I said I was going to do. And then I took air and I blew off all the magnets. I blew off all the debris around it. Make sure that it was all nice and clean. We'll line up the key. Install the flywheel. There we go. Now you guys know with the aluminum, the billet flywheels, man, I forget what that's called. We'll put some grinding compound on there and we'll lap it in, right, for the housing. But with this one, we're not going to do that. We're going to leave it just like that and go ahead and put the rest of it together. Now looking at the starter fin, you know, you've got the 4 holes on the fin, or on the starter fins, and you've got the 4 holes here on this as well. Plus you got to line up the angle here on the, so it would go on just like that. Then you got the starter cup. You got the 1 hole there for the starter cup. You got the little dimple there. Line that up. And I'm gonna go ahead and put some Loctite on this. I'm gonna have to go get it though, but I'll show you. It just goes right back on. It's pretty deep in there, like that. And then we'll run it down. Let me get that Loctite. So while we're putting the Loctite on here, shake it up, make sure it's mixed. Is these bolts, I guess, you know, even though they've got a beveled edge on the back, it's kind of like a lock nut, they tend to loosen up. So we're just going to put some Loctite on there. I got the blue one. You could use red, wouldn't matter, but it'd make it harder to come off. And yeah, I'm going to use blue. And line that up. Line the pin back up. Put the nut on. It's really deep in there. There we go. Now I'm gonna run it in with the impact. This is how I've always put my flywheels on. know there's a torque specification. I think it's 52 foot-pounds or something, and it's done by holding the crank. I've had good luck just doing that. That thing torques to what, I don't know, 100 foot-pounds. So yeah, basically that's it. We'll put the ignition coil back on. We've got the hardware in over here, and we'll set that at a business card depth. I think it's 30 thousandths, or yeah, I think it's 30 thousandths. We'll just go ahead and put that back on. I've got the hardware over here. It's the 2 long ones that we took off earlier, and that just goes back in here. Can you believe I forgot the business card? And I don't have feeler gauges for 30 thousandths, but the business card is pretty good. I got one in the garage. I'll get it out here in a minute, and then we can tighten those up. So we have the coil, the 2 bolts in. I've got a business card here. It's about 30 thousandths, and we'll stick it in there like that. Now you can turn the engine. Well, uh-oh, it's coming and going. Uh-oh.
What?
Okay, guys, not sure what's going on here. My understanding was these 224s were you know, pretty much interchangeable with a lot of the Hemi parts. So this is the flywheel that came off the 224. You know, you can see it's a nice piece. You know, this is the Hemi, or the, excuse me, and this is the flywheel I bought for the electric start kit, and it is for a Hemi Predator. And this one is for a previous kit that I had on my 212, the one that Mighty had. So looking at these flywheels, the taper is different. This one, when it's put on, rubs against the engine case and the starter and will not turn over. When I put this one back on, I can see there's a lot of clearances everywhere around the case, and well, let me show you. Okay, so when I put the stock flywheel on, you see the taper is still inside, and it does not rub against the engine block at all, on the bottom or on the top. When I put the Hemi flywheel, you can see it sits back far on the taper, and it rubs. Let's see if we can get a better shot of that. And it rubs on the engine block, the bottom and the top. So that's not going to work. You know, I hoped it would, but it's obviously not. So we take a look. Now we take a look at the 212 flywheel. Align that key, put it on there. The taper's inside, so there's plenty of room to move. And much like the other one, it's not riding on the engine block. So I think I'm going to try this flywheel, and I'll put the starter and stuff back together, and I'm going to try this one. See if this will work, if it'll start, and if it'll provide the spark and everything I need. It doesn't rub on the starter when it engages. I think we'll be fine. So yeah, I'm going to reassemble everything, and we'll check it out. All right. Okay, so I'm running into obstacles every time I assemble a part. So I wanted to use the shroud that came with the kit because of this piece right here. That covers the starter, has the mounting point for the switch box, and as you can see, these extra large fins, man, it rubs on that. It rubs on that bad. So so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this and put it on the 224 shroud, and that'll solve my problem altogether, because I'm pretty sure once I get this problem figured out by trying to space this out, then I'll have a problem with the cup. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can remove this, or at least notch the 224 cover, and see if I can put that piece on it. All right, it's not quite as directly bolt on as I thought it was going to be. I really thought it would be straight out of the box, bolted on and go, but it's not turning out to be that way. With a little bit of fabrication skill, you can do it. Yeah, I think that's my best choice. I'm going to take this off. All right. Okay, now with a lot of trial and error, I've got the fan shroud that came with the kit installed, and it turns now. However, what I had to do for right now is put the 212 cooling fins on with the smaller cup, the 212 cup, and it fits, it works. It allows me to put this tin on, and I'm gonna put the pull start on right now, or the recoil start, whatever you want to call it. And if I have any issues with it cooling, I'll put the other larger fan on there, and I'll modify the other shroud to fit, to suit rather. But I want to try it like this. I want to prove the concept of the electric start on there, and if I like it and I have some cooling issues, then I'll change the fan shrouds all over and put it back the way it was, or maybe get a billet flywheel. I don't know. We'll figure it out. There's lots of time. No worries. All right, let me get the pull start on. All right, so it's all back together. Yeah, looks pretty good. I like the way it looks. Key box fits nicely right there. Got all the wires hanging down. I got to do the battery wiring and electrical wiring next. The motor spins over freely, so that's not a problem. The key switch does work. I tried it temporarily, but I want to wire it up permanent. So now I got to run the wires and mount a battery somewhere, and I'll have to figure that out, where I can fit a battery. Not quite sure yet. Maybe up there, down there, over there somewhere. I don't know. Maybe in front on the handlebars. Who knows? But we're gonna put a battery on it. And Mega Moto 224 with a key. Pretty cool. All right, now the charging system is in there, but it's not really enough to maintain a battery. I found my other two coils, and I could put those coils in and it may maintain a 12-volt battery. I don't know, but not gonna mess with that yet. I'm gonna leave it like this for now. I do seem to have a little bit of rubbing. I think it's with the coil on the flywheel. I think my gap's too tight, but I'm gonna fix that another time, and I'll pick up this video again sometime this week when I have a chance to work on it. But it mounted good. Everything looks really well right there. I just gotta fix the wiring, and yeah, I like it. I did make some changes. I did change the flywheel, the cooling fins or fans, the starter cup, and of course the shroud are all different pieces, and I'll break it all down when I get it all done on what I used to make it work. I really thought it was going to be out of the box bolt-on kit, and it wasn't. So yeah, with that said, I'll come back to it again here later this week when I get a chance. So see you then. All right, guys, so we're out here. We've got to figure out what we want to do with the battery to make the starter work. There's not a lot of places we can put a battery on this thing. You know, this doesn't have a lot of room inside this frame, and some of the batteries are pretty small, pretty big. The smallest one, you know, I don't know if I could tuck it up inside, or you know, exactly where I could put it. But also, I don't want it to run out of power when we're out on the trails or when we're out riding it around. So I thought about this. I have an Optima yellow top. It sits there pretty good. It doesn't block the steering. It'll give me something to rest my hand on when I'm riding. I think it's perfect. Should provide more than enough power for the electric start. I don't think it'll be a problem whatsoever. And it doesn't really look that bad, does it? Really? Right? I don't know. Power wires would be short. Yeah. And I can run a radio. I could run lights. I like it. What do you think? Thumbs up? Alright guys, I was just playing about that Optima battery. There's no way I'm going to run that big ass battery on this little mini bike. I just wanted something to try to make a joke, you know? But anyway, so what I do have in mind is a Ryobi 18 volt lithium battery. I believe it should work. I've purchased an adapter for the battery. This is what they use for like Power Wheels and other DIY projects. I've made a mounting bracket and bolted it to the bottom of the adapter, and I put a harness with a fuse. Now right now it's got a 30 amp fuse. I would rather have a 40 amp or a little bigger fuse, but for now this is the setup I'm gonna go with, and it's gonna mount right here on the frame. Should fit really well. The battery I think will look nice right there, and I can take it out and recharge it when needed. Now the charging system on the mini bike is 12 volt, very low amps, and the Ryobi lithium batteries are very particular. Well, lithium batteries in general are very particular about how they're charged. So I'm not going to try to charge an 18 volt lithium battery with a 12 volt low amp system. This just will not have clean enough, strong enough power to charge that lithium battery. Probably catch that lithium battery on fire or short something else out. You know, I really don't know. I don't want to try it. So even though the charging coils are here and they're in, the power goes into the switch box. This switch box, however, does not have a rectifier. So I believe this one coil is 12 volt DC current, and it would power some lights. But it does not have a rectifier, so I unplugged the lead, the charging lead, at the circuit breaker inside. So I am not using the 12 volt charging at all. It will not send power to the Ryobi battery. I could probably put a rectifier in here and put my dual coils in here, and if I found a 12 volt battery or some other source, it would probably charge the battery as well, but I'm not going to mess with that with the 18 volt battery. I have another switch box over there, and that switch box does have a rectifier in it, and it will change the AC current from the dual coils to DC current so that I could use it. But I'm not using that box on this build, and I can probably put a rectifier in this box if I need to, but now we're not going to do that right now. Though, let's go ahead and get this mounted up, and yeah, check it out. What I've got is this bracket bolts here on the screw for the fender mounting, right, like this, and then it goes to the other side, and either I'll weld it or clamp it or something in the future. Right now I'm just going to use a zip tie for testing purposes only, and it holds the battery quite well. Let me get that installed. Alright, so I hope you can hear me over Spike in the garage. He's being really obnoxious today. But here's the Ryobi battery installed. Wire harness is zip tied up, and I need to just make the final connections. I just need to make the connections at the engine. So yeah, it looks really good. I think it fits right there real nice. Could have probably adjusted the bracket a little bit to bring the battery more inside, but I wanted to keep it away from the exhaust, and I think I succeeded. I think it works really well. So yeah, looks good. It looks really good. A wire harness on the back. There we go. Comes down and it'll tie up in the front. I'll get these electrical connections made here at the starter and on the block, and we'll be good to go. Check it out. There's my ground right there. Just going to the gas tank bolt with the ground for the engine kill switch, and there's the positive wire going to the starter. Now this kit doesn't come with a wiring harness diagram on how to run the wires, but for the most part the wires are color coded and they don't change that much between the engines, and Honda keeps it one pattern, and just a couple of variations between yellow, I think, and green, or the brown and the green or something. But the V-Power that I bought this kit from has a little video and a little tutorial on how to do the wiring and how to install it. I also looked some stuff up on Google, and it works. It came out perfect. Like I said, this charging coil is not going to charge that Ryobi battery. That lithium battery will not like the power from this coil. And I'm just going to finish bolting the switch on, and yeah, we'll try it out. I have really high hopes that this is going to work just perfectly. All right, let me get that switch box bolted back up, and we'll go for the big moment. Okay, I've got the switch box bolted back up. The battery's in. Should be a good charge. I had it in my drill, but I think there should be enough power in it to turn the motor over. Right now the fuel is off. I also kept this ignition switch. I'll keep this in the off position. I don't want the motor to start up yet. All I want the motor to do is crank. So yeah, here we go. Now this switch, like I said, does not have the rectifier in it, so it's not going to charge the battery, remember? It could, but it's not going to. Not the lithium battery. We have off, run, and start, and a circuit breaker down here on the bottom. So we'll turn it to the run position. That should have everything turned on, and yeah, let's see how she cranks. Oh my, did you see that? That's awesome. That is freaking awesome. That little Ryobi has got more than enough go-go for that. Let's see, let's turn it on. Let's turn the fuel on, put the choke over to start. I don't know, let's hit that one and see what happens. Look at that. Look at that. It's running. I like it. I like it a lot. Now we just turn it off. I like that. That is so cool. So cool. So that, as you saw, guys, was the install of an electric start system on the Predator Max Performance 224cc engine. And we're using the Ryobi lithium ion 18 volt rechargeable battery out of my tools that I have so many of. Yeah, I made a little harness, wiring harness for it, and as you saw, it works perfectly. I would rather really like to put the red fan shroud and fan back in there. The other fan I use is a 212. It's got smaller blades, so I don't know if it's going to blow enough air to actually cool the engine. There's a reason they put that big fan on there, you know. But I put the smaller one in there right now to make all this work, to prove of concept, and I can always remove this box, like I said, and put it on the red cover if I want to. I really like the red that's on here originally. I think it really adds a nice contrast to all the black and the little red that I have, and I wanted to paint the clutch cover red as well, the same color. If I can't for some reason change back to the other fan shroud, then I'll paint this one the red color, but I hope that I can change back to the other one. I just basically have to change this box that goes here over the starter, so I'll have to cut the other cover and then weld in that box. But anyway, it's good. it works really good. I'm very happy. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends and family, whatever. Man, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And yeah, it's fun. I always come back to Willy, where we're working on the Mega Moto 224 with the electric start and many other things. The other mini bike, my Mighty, the swing arm mini bike. Of course, the Silverado behind me, the Samurai, the Nissan Frontier, you know, all these fun projects. This bike, however, is not done. I got some internal parts I want to do, and like I've said, so in all the videos I made, I want to get inside and check why it's got so much in play and it makes some noise when it's running under load. So gaskets are in now for that. The shims are here for that as well, and we'll get inside and we'll check that out. I don't plan on doing any other physical performance mods, so to speak. I may do an exhaust, and I may have to jet the carburetor. That would be like the first mod you do to these engines. And I might do that, or I may not. I might just leave it like this. Everything seems to work perfectly. Gas tank is fine where it is. Normally I have the gas tank up here on top, but this is working. The clutch seems to be better since I changed over to the max torque, and it's just all around a fun bike. So yeah, I'm gonna end this project right now, right here, and can always come back where we're gonna do much more work to this engine and spend more time with the mini bike. So I'll see you next time. Bye.